Hello guys, JongLi here, and I'm back with another online commentary battle for Rome Total War. This time it is a 2 versus 2 31k rules battle. I'll just get the battle started here, and we're playing against Scipii Longshanks and Spartan Commander in the red, and my ally is Lee in the blue. Yeah, so I think all are fairly seasoned players, and it should be interesting. So Steve Longshanks, sorry, pushed over to my flank for some reason. He looks like he was playing quite passively with Spartan Commander over there before, and he suddenly moved over here, which I found quite strange. But yeah, so I pulled back. This unit lagged up and stayed there for a lot longer than it should have, and it got peeled and died. And now it's getting, yeah, it's routing. So that wasn't a good start, and it has been definitely at least a few weeks since I have touched the game, so I am a bit rusty here, and it'll probably show in this battle. So Spartan Commander and Steve like to put their cav really close together and go in for that one pinpoint charge. Steve has decided not to put his cav into wedge, which I found quite strange. And yeah, my micro is a bit weird here, and some units lagged up. So I tried to testudo these units, but I only ended up testudoing a few of them. I was going for a counter there, but Steve pulled out too quickly, and since Spartan Commander was coming in, I had to get out of there sharpish. So Steve Longshanks now pushing his advantage, which is a great move. I've just like a testudo unit here, so pushing up is definitely quite good. Get the surrounds, and yeah, keep pushing the advantage that he's got. My guys are fairly depleted now, and they really do not look very good in comparison to Steve's numbers. I've also got a bunch of guys I'm floating over here, which is a huge mistake. Completely useless sitting around over here. I should definitely have brought them around. I'm going for a counter charge here into some infantry, and it totally misses the cav. So that was rather disappointing. I did throw one cav unit around the back over here, but again, my micro and my mouse was a bit laggy, so yeah, couldn't really bring it around in time to get things done. And a lot of my cav ends up dying because I left it stuck in the infantry, so everything's going pretty badly for me at the moment. Meanwhile, Steve and Spartan Commander are just doing a big mash kind of thing with their cav, which is fine. I've got my cav unit around the back now, but as you can see, it's just standing there and being extremely useless, and it's going to get caught and probably get routed. Some of my cav have come back, but they don't look very promising, as you guys can see. So it really comes down to Lee, my ally. It's going to be quite tough for us to come back. We have got some kind of momentum in the center part though, but Spartan Commander is coming to reinforce that. Yeah, and it looks like Lee's going to try and push the center a bit more. The general is there, so if he can get that routed, it would be quite something we would need. I'm just trying to stall on this side, and Lee's seen this side is like becoming super weak. If this side crumbles too quickly, then the rest of our stuff will as well. So he's very cleverly supporting here, pumping more urbans over. And yeah, I got actually like one decent charge in the entire game, which was the one I just did there. But I think more of my units ended up routing than Steve's. It did kill a lot of Steve's cav and routed like one unit, but yeah, a lot of my units routed as well. So even my good charge wasn't that good. And it's really all down to Lee now, so it'll pretty much be 1 versus 2 at this point. Spartan Commander mashing his guys up a bit too much, probably in this center. The Legionary First is there as well. Throwing Peeler, getting work done, love that. That is good Peeler. And Spartan Commander just really bunching up his guys. Not really what you want when you're ahead. You want to kind of, you know, regroup, consolidate while you're ahead. You don't want to be desperately mashed up like this. Usually when players get desperate, myself included, we just kind of send everything in. And yeah, that usually is not good. And Spy Commander's like push through here. Maybe he was going for this kind of push through, but this leaves him very overextended, and Lee can get a very safe charge off here onto these guys. So that should rout a few of them. And as Spartan Commander tries to countercharge, they're too far away, and he rakes his cav across all these infantry units. So that is not good for him. I've sent my urban over here to kind of distract these cav units, and in melee, obviously the urban is better, so I'm getting some kills there, which is quite alright. Yeah, a lot of Spartan Commanders cav routing in that crush there, and that is one big turning point for us, because it means that we now have the cav advantage. Lee has turned it around by himself. And also partly thanks to Spartan Commanders overextending through the center, he's able to get the cav advantage, and now is a good point to kind of think about winning for our team. Before we were only thinking about surviving, now we can focus on winning because we have the cav. It's just a matter of how we use it and how we use our infantry to support their efforts. So yeah. The hole has been plugged that Spartan Commander made before, and Lee's got two pretty healthy units back here, so things aren't looking too bad on the infantry front. I'm still running this random urban cohort around chasing the cav, which is mildly amusing, but really the focus is on Lee's cav here. It is going to do is going to have to do work if we are going to turn this battle around. Meanwhile, my units are down to like 4 very, very depleted units, including my general. My general isn't dead yet, and I don't want him to die, so I have to be quite careful when playing with my general. And yeah, Spartan Commander might have been going for my general with this charge, but probably not. But Lee's going in with his charge here, and this is a very overextended flank from Steve. And before, Lee couldn't take advantage of that because we had the cav disadvantage, so we couldn't really push aggressively on the flanks because we had to take care of the rest of our army. But now that we do have the cav advantage, Lee is very free to kind of just do what he wants on these overextended lines that before were really good for Longshanks because he was pressuring me really well, but now it's become a liability, and it's become an opportunity for us to turn this game around, or for Lee to turn this game around, to be more precise. So now Lee's gonna just push in on this flank and gonna start really aggressively just breaking down Spartan Commander's defense. Spartan Commander is really bunched up here, which is not really what you want when you're facing cav. You really want your guys a bit more spaced out so that when the cav comes in, they don't catch a ton of units. The only time this is really good is when there's like very little cav left, very few cav left. So like maybe half these numbers, this would be alright, or if they were pike units, which they're obviously not. So Lee's going to split his cav up, try and get more angles on these guys. It's good to keep in mind that the general of Steve Longshanks is gone, so it's the morale of his guys will be lower, and the Legionary First is still around though, so these guys will be keeping morale up, but this is now like being used as a buffer unit by Steve, and you know, if it's being used as a frontline unit, the chances of it getting routed become a lot higher because you know they're taking all the hits, they're taking all the damage. So Steve has to be careful. If this guy routs, this Legionary First might not be so good for the rest of his army and for Spartan Commander's army as well. Meanwhile, there is another Legionary First here, Spartan Commanders, that I failed to see earlier on. But this is routing, and this is really big because Spartan Commander's army needs this morale. They are surrounded, and yeah, this is going to have a fairly big impact on the morale of his guys and Steve's guys who were potentially getting the buff from morale there. That being said, Steve's Legionary First is still up, so they still have that, but as you can see, some units starting to chain route now. Not liking their odds, not liking how they are being surrounded by all of Lee's units. Lee very precisely just bringing units around, flanking, and then pinning the enemy units in place, and he comes in for a finishing blow. Two-side charge, really nice pincer, nice wraparound, and that's it. Spartan Commander missed defeat, and that is the win. So Lee pretty much single-handedly turned it around from a extremely dire situation to a, fairly convincing win, and that's reflected in the score here. 1,600 kills, sorry, can't do math. 1,600 kills for Lee. Myself, only about 1,200. And yeah, I was only able to get that many kills because Lee helped me hold out for so long, undoubtedly. And I imagine most of my kills were from Urbans, yeah. As you can see, Urbans did most of my kills because, as you saw, my cav died very early on, so they had very few kills, whereas my Urbans just, plugged along, kept fighting, and that's why I have two Urbans with like over 100 kills. That being said, if we look at Captain Publius, who would be Lee's captain, a lot of his kills were from the Praetorian Cavalry. They did tons of work this game, so it makes sense. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next time.